There's something about the human mind that causes us to remember and oftentimes romanticize certain memories. When I was in early primary school, my mom's really close friend and colleague had kids who were just about the same age as my brothers and I. So we were really close and we were even neighbors. So I remember by proximity, we were that close as well. One day, I found out that they were leaving to the UK. Leaving. I was probably too young to understand, but the fact that I remember today means that there was a paradigm shift in my reality of existence even back then. So fast forward, I recently traveled to the UK to visit my brother, and I worked with a company called My Runway Group. So during and after that trip, there were so many memories that just started coming back to me, and I started to understand the concept of identity from a whole different perspective, really. A whole different angle that I didn't really think about, and to know that identity is multifaceted. And then I made a short film titled To Be Ghanaian in London. It was a short documentary. In essence, it's a film that subliminally debunks the idea that being Ghanaian is actually just one single thing, and knowing that the idealism of who we are as Ghanaians has so many angles that we can capture. And right now, I'm looking to direct a short docu-series that explores to be Ghanaian across several different countries, understanding what it is even to be Ghanaian in the diaspora, because being Ghanaian just doesn't mean being born and raised in Ghana. So you can see that this and so many other experiences fed into this very project. Okay, another story. So my mom was in the military, right? She is retired now. I remember her to be a strong and audacious woman, and in most African homes, you would find that the father figure is probably the scary one, right? But I quite remember following her to work a couple of times and seeing, big, tough, scary muscle dudes just stand still as soon as she walked in the room. And they would just salute her and be still until she tells them that they could be at ease. And I also witnessed a certain aspect of her reality that even most women still experience today. So she's an entrepreneur on the side. So after work, sometimes she would pick me up from school and we would go to her saloon or home or even one of her boutiques. And she would rant to her sisters, Auntie Becky and Auntie Judith, about how terrible the guys in a male-dominated department were treating her as a woman. And I even remember a specific story. Like, there was one time they provided computers for all her colleagues, and she being the only woman, she was the only one who didn't receive one, right? And I remember she was devastated about the situation, and she didn't take it lightly at all. I quite remember that. Thinking back right now, I think I was a little bit in quote kokonsa, but these were my experiences growing up. And even at a point in her career, we moved to Nigeria for 3 years. So she essentially is one of the most ambitiously driven people I've met, and I find that to be so inspiring in my career. And in conclusion, right, my mother's persona is the inspiration for a documentary I'm currently developing that celebrates remarkable achievements of African women in the military. Maybe right now you're either wondering why the narcissist topic, or you're thinking, what is all of this about? Or you fell deep into the stories and actually forgot about the topic. But I will get to that. So at this point of the talk, it's either one of two things. If you knew me already, you probably feel like I've shared a whole different other angle of who I am, or you have, maybe you have a deeper sense of what is beneath the surface of my films, of my documentaries, of the things that I create. Or if you didn't know me at all and you just happened to chance upon this talk, I have most certainly created an identity of myself for you, right? And the reason why the latter is so important is part of the reason why I'm here today. Of course, I wouldn't share the specifics of the stories of my films I'm developing, because what kind of businessman would that make me, really? But what I've shared with you is my story. It is a part of my identity. It is unique, it is authentic, and it's who I am. And that, in essence, is the future of African filmmaking. It is not just me, but it is every single one of us, our experiences, our history, and our stories. In an interview with CNN, Steven Spielberg said something remarkable about storytelling. He said, "History is the greatest. You can never do better than history." So, with this notion, if history is the greatest, then every other country's history or every other continent's history has been tapped in the film industry. This is our competitive advantage as filmmakers. As African filmmakers, our history and our experiences is highly untapped. And actually, that poses a tremendous privilege that we haven't yet realized as African filmmakers. A more interesting angle is that you don't have to be an investor or even a businessman to realize that African filmmakers have the opportunity to ease into a multi-billion-dollar global film industry. Right? Within the past few years, we've had instances of streaming giants like Canal Plus and Netflix setting up offices right here in Africa. I won't bore you much with the statistics, but every African original series produced so far has topped the charts in many countries across the world, not just Africa, but across the world. So really, where does that leave us? Netflix is even so daring that they launched in Nigeria, the third largest film industry in the world. I won't go too deep into the business side of film, right? But this is relevant for the topic. And so right now I'm forecasting that in the next couple of years, African content will be highly sought after. As production values and budgets increase, actually, because that's very important. Because soon enough, we'll be telling our stories with the right industry standards of development, pre-production, production, and post-production. But what is left? Distribution. And really, distribution is where the money is. So distributors from all over the world will start seeking and setting eyes on Africa because distributors are about the numbers. And Netflix has already started a trend. But once the world starts to see that truly our films are ranking high globally, they will rush in for African content. And that's a fact, actually. And when that happens, you'd start to think that where does that put us? When they get here, they would realize that there's not enough African content with the right production value. So as African filmmakers, we need to tell our stories and prepare for the incoming wave, because truly the future of filmmaking is me and you, African filmmakers. September 2015, I began my freshman year in university at Ashesi. There's this course I took, which is totally unrelated to my major, but essentially what it does is to get every student in their freshman year to start and run a business. Yeah, right in freshman year. It was a lot, but it also taught us a lot as well. Because your grades for that semester is based on the business that you run. But what I'm about to tell you is not really about the business. You know, we got good grades, of course, but the business failed terribly. But we were in a position where we learned. It's not about creating what will be the next big thing, but it's about the values that you gather from that. And that's where I'm leading. The story I'm sharing with you is about an assignment we were given. And in this assignment, we could represent our solution in any medium we wanted. Some students organized events on campus, and some did really crazy things. I remember there was a party. But my team and I decided to make a video, December 2015. And that was the start of my career. I didn't realize it then, but I know now. You see, that video was shot on my teammate Toby's phone because my phone sucked so bad. My friend Edwin helped me install the Premiere Pro editor, cracked version on my laptop. Please don't sue me out of it. We were kids back then. 3 years down the line, I'm sitting here in a studio and office with my business partner, Eric, and we are preparing for this new wave that I'm talking about. So really what I'm saying is this is a call to all African filmmakers. So this is where I conclude. We've had a history of our narrative being represented in media. And film shouldn't even be about reforming what the narratives are, but rather just focus on creating what is authentically us. And so I'll leave you with this. If we are the custodians of our history and narrative, we don't have to worry about misrepresentation in media. Because you can easily buy good production values with the right budget, of course. But you can't easily buy the privilege of having your experience as an African filmmaker. Thank you.